What is the hardest part about being a mom running a business? Never having enough time, right? We're always working on something. There's always more to do. We always have somebody that needs something from us, be that our kids or our team. It seems like there is just not enough hours in the day. And so today, I want to discuss how you can get your time back, specifically your time, right? I've done a lot of videos and vlogs on time management and getting your time back, building time freedom. These are things that I'm always talking about, but I want to talk today specifically about getting your time back, time for you, the thing that keeps going to the back burner because you feel like there's not enough time. And I remember specifically a stage in my life in which I was frustrated about not getting time for myself and feeling equal parts guilty about desiring that. Because I think as moms, we are not supposed to say that we want space away from our kids. We're not supposed to say that we need a break from work, even if it's work we love. We're not supposed to say these things out loud. And so there is like shame and guilt, and it feels easier most times to just push the things that we want for ourselves because they don't feel like needs to the back burner. And so I remember when Brooklyn, my second child, was a few months old, and I had been battling back and forth with how to manage my time. At that point, I had my business for quite a long time. I've been a self-employed entrepreneur since 2012. I had Cameron in 2016. So I kind of figured out the ropes when it came to, okay, here's kind of what I'm doing as a mom. Here's how I navigate the business around that. And like I've told this story before, but there was a moment in time with him where I was trying to balance both and couldn't figure it out. And that's what began my quest into everything that I'm teaching now, is like, how do I honor that ambition and that desire to grow, to scale, to impact people, while also being the present mom that I want to be? Why are these things on opposite ends? How do we bring them and make them work together? And so Cameron began my quest down that path, right? And then when Brooklyn came, we were in a different situation because with Cameron, I was getting my time. And one of the most important things for me is my physical well-being, mostly because my physical well-being is largely connected to my emotional and mental well-being, as it is for most people. And being somebody that had trained consistently since 2011, I was a competitor, all those things, I am somebody who needs to move to feel good. And so with Cameron, we owned a gym at the time. So Cameron could come to the gym with us. So managing time there was a little easier. With Brooklyn, we had sold the gym. And so now I found myself trying to figure out, okay, this is a thing that I want, but really need for myself. And so you likely have something like this, to where it's like, in order to feel my best, in order to operate as the best leader, as the best mother, as the best partner, this is something that I need for myself, but you're likely looking at it right now through the lens of want. And so that's why it's so easy to push to the back burner. And so in this specific instance, I remember there was a night that I was, a couple months postpartum, I think, and putting Brooklyn down to sleep. And it was like in between that 4 or 5 a.m. kind of wake up. And I just had this thought of, I put her down and it's quiet and it's dark. And I'm like, this is the only time I'm going to have, right? Like this time that I definitely don't want to be awake and would rather be sleeping is the only time that I'm going to have in which I can pour back into me. And so luckily when we sold our gym, we had turned our garage into a gym, which we still have now. So it was just about actually having that dedicated time to get out there. And I think that that's what we miss a lot as mothers and as businesswomen, is that we don't dedicate and hold specific times for our needs because we view them as wants, right? It's so easy as moms to disregard our health routines. It's so easy to disregard sleep. It's so easy to disregard relationships, friendships. And these are some of the most important pieces of our foundation that we need as humans. And so we find that we just, okay, I got all this time and space back and now I'm pouring it into the business. But then we become burnout, we become disconnected, and it's just not sustainable. And so in that moment with Brooklyn, I realized, okay, this is the only time that I'm going to have. And truthfully, this is something that I tell a lot of my clients with young kids. I'm like, I know that it's not fun to get up early. And it's not necessarily that you have to be in the 5 a.m. club, but what you do need to have is you do need to have dedicated space for things, just like you would have appointments for anything work related. And so to me, making that shift meant obviously I had to go to bed earlier. And so that meant, okay, we're going to watch less TV, right? Like there's always a sacrifice that you're always pulling from somewhere. And so, where in your life right now, if you're being realistic about how you spend your time, where is an area that you are spending time and energy that may not be contributing to your greatest potential or you being your best self, right? Where is that area right now? And can you pull from that area in order to get time and space back in an area that you are currently avoiding because you see it as a want? Physical movement is not a want. Physical movement is a need. Physical movement is one of the greatest things that you can do for your mental well-being. I know that for me, it is the anchor for a lot of my emotional support. It gets me through hard times. It allows me to come back into my body. It allows me to showcase my power to myself on how I push myself and what I'm capable of. And so it's not necessarily that you need to, again, get up at 5 a.m. like me every morning. But what you do need to do is you need to rearrange your schedule and you need to set specific times for the things that you are currently seeing as wants that are actually needs. And so, in order to do that, you have to look at places that you are spending your time that are not contributing to your overall well being. And a lot of times we overload ourselves with things that we feel are most important, but those things that we feel are most important are usually tied to a goal that may not be our own goal. And so, if you want to get your time back, if you truly want to be able to practice self care, to be a better leader, to be a better mother, and frankly, to be a better example for the people that are watching you, you need time to do that. And we all have the same amount of time. And so, what are you willing to sacrifice? In the short term, you think that maybe you're sacrificing, okay, I'm working, I'm in a season where I just need to work a little bit more. And so I'm going to get up early in the morning and I'm going to go straight to work. And it feels like the right choice in that moment. I understand that. But at the end of the day, starting your day with you sets the tone and the intention for the day. Filling your cup first before the requests and needs and questions start coming in from your little people and your team and your partner and everybody else that always needs something from you. And so I think that one of the greatest things that we can do to get our time back is to redo our schedule so we are going to bed earlier and getting up earlier. That 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. block for me keeps me sane. That block contributes to my success in so many ways. There are so many ways in which self-care ties to our business success. And for me, I have had some of the most creative ideas while I'm journaling. I have had, in that stillness, in that darkness, I have had some of the greatest revelations while I am running. And so I think that, again, we have to look at things for what they are. We have to really understand that self-care is not selfish, that taking moments and carving out time for yourself, while it is hard to do because we have a lot of moving parts, I get it. I have 3 kids now. But I will say that when something becomes a constant, when something becomes a habit and it becomes just part of your identity and who you are, you show up for it. Just like when my alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and I hate it every single time, I get up. because that's who I am. And because I know that by getting up, that trickles into the rest of my day. And so for you, first thinking about what are the things that if you had more time or before kids, what were the things that you were doing? And then thinking about how are you spending your time now? And what are things that you are doing that are not actively contributing to your overall well-being? That's the difference here, is we can't be so short-sighted in the decisions that we're making. We have to start thinking about if we are going to get our time back, we have the same 24 hours. So how are you spending that 24 hours now? Literally write it down. How are you spending that 24 hours now? How much of it is dedicated to sleep? How much are you scrolling on your phone? Like how much are you spending working? And for a lot of my clients, the amount of hours that they are working is so big. And then it's like, okay, well, now we know that. What can we do with it? So how do we pull back on some of those work hours? If everything done during those hours is necessary, which I doubt, I think we need to start looking at how can we be more focused and efficient in those hours? How do we rearrange our schedule to be more optimized for our brain and be able to focus in one key area at a time and less multitasking? So everything, we can peel back another layer and another layer in each area. But the first thing that you need to do is first be honest with yourself about what you really want and how much time that you would like for yourself, and then look at how you are currently spending your time and see where is that time getting pulled from. Because there are certain things that you do, like I told you, my sacrifice literally was TV. When I switched to getting up at 5 a.m. and going to bed at 9 p.m., it was like an hour less of TV, which I get it. At the end of the day, you put the kids to bed, you're like, this is my time to like zone out, be mindless. And then it's like 3 hours later and you're like, whoa, what just happened? It takes some discipline to turn off the TV, to turn off Netflix, to get in bed earlier. I get it. But that small choice that you make in that moment ripples into everything that you do, your energy, how you show up, how you feel in your body, how you lead, how you communicate, your confidence. Just, I could go on forever. And so here's exactly what I want you to do today. If you want to get your time back, if you're somebody that's like, I just don't have time for myself, you first need to understand that having time for yourself is not selfish. You need to understand that having time for yourself is a necessity. And time for yourself, it qualifies anything outside of your work that is fulfilling to you. This could be time with your partner. This could be alone time. This could be time devoted to your health and fitness. All of these things are necessary, right? And so first looking at those things, what are you missing, right? What have you pushed to the back burner? And then saying to yourself, okay, realistically, what do I need? Do I need 1 hour per day? Do I need 30 minutes per day? Like, what do I need? And then taking that time and knowing that, okay, this is now a necessity for my life, right? This 1 hour per day for myself is a necessity for my life. Where am I pulling that hour from? You are in charge of your work schedule. You can shut off earlier. You can do so much within your business, whether it's delegating better, whether it's not micromanaging your people, whether it's having better systems, better processes in place that create more efficiency. There's so many things that you can do within your business structure to create something that actually fosters this me time. And so that's the process that I want you to go through today to get your time back. I want you to first figure out what am I missing? What have I pushed to the back burner? Second, I want you to say, okay, how much time do I need for those things that I'm missing? Third, I want you to look at how you're spending your time now and divide that up into, okay, I'm sleeping 8 hours, I'm working 10 hours, whatever it is on an average basis. And then I want you to say, okay, where am I pulling? How am I getting this hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, whatever? Where am I putting that? And start to look at it from that lens. Because oftentimes, if I'm being honest with you, we just settle. We're like, oh, don't have time for that anymore. Doesn't work. Can't do that anymore. Instead of being like, you know what? I need that. Like for me, I needed to be able to have an hour to myself to move my body. I needed that. And so for me, knowing that, then I was able to start formulating solutions of, okay, well, where is that hour going to go? So that's what I want you to do for yourself. And then I guarantee there is places that you can pull from that are not contributing to your overall well-being. And if you have to pull from the hours that you're working, you can absolutely redo your schedule to end your work day earlier. You are in control of deadlines, of timelines, of how much you work, at what frequency you work, what days you work. It's easy to forget that. So I know that you probably needed that reminder. And if you need further help on this and you're like, you know what, looking at this time, I see that my business structure and the way that I'm running things is clunky and it's not set up to support me having any sort of time freedom or time for myself, then I really encourage you to grab the Female Founders Freedom Framework. That is my free guide that looks at 8 different areas of the business and is going to tell you what needs to be changed in the business to promote more freedom and flexibility, along with some other resources, non-negotiables, action steps. It's really a phenomenal resource. So highly, highly recommend that you download that. It is free, and we will drop the link below for you there. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you guys next week.